Tonight on ABC News Live Prime, millions set to lose their food assistance benefits at midnight.
As more than 40 million Americans poised to lose federal food assistance, a federal judge ordering the Trump administration to use emergency funds hours before the government shutdown would force critical food assistance to run out. Lawmakers deadlocked, the House and Senate in recess. What happens next?
Chaos at the airports with a close call and dozens of ground stops happening at airports across the country because of staffing shortages.
Highlighting growing concerns about the nationwide shortage of air traffic controllers in America, partially linked to the government shutdown. None getting paid, many calling in sick. The airlines calling on Congress to reopen the government and pay air traffic controllers, TSA, and Border Patrol officers. The New York City mayoral race is in the home stretch, a race that's attracted the attention of President Trump, now urging the Republican Curtis Sliwa to drop out. Linsey Davis takes the subway with him to talk about how he would change the city and whether he's feeling the heat to drop out.
Some members of your own party have said they're not going to vote for you. They've urged you to get out of the race. You've said that there have been people who've offered you as much as $10 million to drop out. What's kept you in it?
And now, going into its 25th year, Wikipedia is often under fire for trust and accuracy issues, yet is consistently one of the top 10 most visited sites on the internet. Founder Jimmy Wales joins us to talk about the company's lasting power, its popularity, and its hundreds of thousands of volunteers around the world who help keep the site honest.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is Prime with Linsey Davis.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Stephanie Ramos, in for Linsey Davis. Thank you so much for streaming with us. It is day 31 of the government shutdown and chaos in the skies. We're learning of an alarming close call, and flight delays and cancellations are growing amid concerns about the nationwide shortage of air traffic controllers. We'll have more on that in just a moment, but we begin with a showdown over SNAP food benefits, with more than 40 million Americans just hours away from losing federal food assistance. As volunteers race to set up temporary food banks, federal judges in 2 states ruled today that the administration's plan to cut off federal assistance is illegal. One of them ordering the administration to use emergency funds to continue funding the benefits beyond tomorrow's deadline. But the Trump administration says it plans to appeal, claiming it's not legally allowed to use those funds. Looming uncertainty tonight for the 41 million Americans who rely on federal food assistance to keep themselves and their families healthy. We have Matt Rivers at LaGuardia Airport tonight on those close calls and the flight delays. But first, let's get right to our Jay O'Brien covering the fight over essential food aid on Capitol Hill. Jay.
Tonight, hours before the government shutdown would force critical food assistance to run out, a federal judge now ordering the Trump administration to use emergency funds, saying without the SNAP federal food program, some 42 million of the country's most vulnerable would face irreparable harm and terror over the availability of funding for food for their family. The administration arguing it's not legally allowed to use the money. Late tonight, President Trump saying he's instructing the government's lawyers to ask the judge how we can legally fund SNAP as soon as possible, saying if the court gives direction, it will be my honor to provide the funding. With benefits stopping this weekend, Martha Goodlatte in North Carolina, who gets nearly all of her food from SNAP, left in limbo.
Listen to me, in Washington, D.C., do not take away from us, please.
Keep going. Food pantries across the country now fear they'll be overwhelmed.
We know right now that we can't keep up and make up the difference.
You can't keep up with all of it.
We absolutely cannot.
After his administration moved money around to cover soldiers' paychecks this week, President Trump today pressed on whether he could do the same for SNAP.
Well, there always is, but all the Democrats have to do is say, let's go. I mean, they don't have to do anything. They don't have to agree. All they have to do is say, the government is open.
But Democrats holding firm for an extension of Obamacare tax credits to prevent health care costs for some 20 million Americans from skyrocketing. Insurance premiums for Stacey Cox and her husband set to quadruple to $2,000 a month. Tonight, sending this message to Washington.
Don't make us suffer while you figure it out. Don't make me live without health insurance while you guys figure out a better plan.
A concerning situation for so many. Jay joins us now from Capitol Hill. And Jay, are there any signs that negotiations on health care might be happening?
Yes, Stephanie, not much. Republicans still refuse to negotiate until the government reopens. Democrats say they don't believe they'll negotiate at all on health care, so they're trying to force Republicans to confront the issue now. Meantime, with this government shutdown exactly a month in now, with critical programs like SNAP on the line, members of Congress are still getting paid. Their next paycheck goes out tomorrow, Stephanie.
The back and forth continues. All right, Jay, thanks so much. Now to that alarming close call in Boston and the mounting flight delays at major airports across the country. All of it highlighting growing concerns about the nationwide shortage of air traffic controllers. Here's Matt Rivers.
Tonight, the alarming close call for two passenger planes at Boston's Logan Airport. Listen to the moment two pilots realized they were on a possible collision course.
What the heck? That was close. Yeah, man, not cool.
A Delta flight from Paris with nearly 300 people on board coming in for landing yesterday, just 125 feet off the runway, about to touch down, just as a Cape Air flight was speeding down an intersecting runway taking off, according to Flight Radar 24. Suddenly, air traffic control noticed something was wrong.
Delta 263, have you go around and turn 10 degrees left.
For Delta 263.
That Delta flight aborting its landing, climbing back into the air. The controller ordering that Cape Air flight to stay low.
Care, go low.
Going low.
Both planes coming within 3,800 feet of each other.
In this case, it looks like it was controller error, but it was also a good save by the controller when they realized the mistake had been made and made the Delta jet go around.
And tonight, dramatic new video showing the damage inside the cabin of a JetBlue flight to Newark that suddenly lost altitude while flying from Cancun. Video showing cracks where people hit the ceiling. Shelley Walsh says everyone in the aisle went flying.
It was such a violent, sudden drop. The flight attendant went completely horizontal, hit the ceiling, flew back down to the ground.
That flight making an emergency landing in Tampa, several passengers and crew rushed to the hospital. No word yet what caused that drop in altitude. And as the country deals with the government shutdown, major flight disruptions nationwide due to critical air traffic control staffing issues and bad weather. Some 32 air traffic control facilities reporting shortages, and the list is growing. One FAA source telling ABC News it's the worst she's ever seen.
I'm also one of the millions affected by the shutdown's impact on air travel. After 4 canceled flights and hours of delays, it took me a full extra day to get from Chicago here to Newark.
In Orlando yesterday, the busiest airport in Florida, the FAA saying there were no controllers to land planes for a time before staffing was finally increased.
And Matt joins us now from LaGuardia Airport. And Matt, what is the situation there tonight?
Well, it is chaos here and at airports across the country. Right now, roughly 2-hour arrival delays, roughly 90-minute departure delays at LaGuardia, and that's what we're seeing across the country. Thousands of cancellations and delays, that number only getting worse by the hour. And with no end in sight to this government shutdown, Stephanie, this chaos will likely continue.
All right, Matt, thank you very much for that update. The FBI says it stopped a potential Halloween terror plot hours before families took their children out for Halloween in Michigan. Authorities made several arrests, intercepting communications that referred to Pumpkin Day. Here's our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas.
In the early morning hours today, the FBI launching a series of raids in connection to what they feared was a deadly plot to commit mass murder on a Halloween weekend in Michigan. This video obtained by the TCD Dearborn News shows the tense moments as the FBI prepares to enter a home seeking evidence they believe was tied to the alleged plot, which a law enforcement source says may have been inspired by ISIS. FBI Director Kash Patel posting at 7:30 a.m. This morning, the FBI thwarted a potential terrorist attack and arrested multiple suspects in Michigan. Neighbors stunned and fearful with the news coming just hours before parents were to take their children out to trick-or-treat for Halloween.
This is very new and scary to me. It's like you're in a movie all of a sudden.
Sources telling ABC News for a number of months the FBI had been monitoring the communications of a number of suspected radicals using an online chat group. In recent weeks, those suspects had allegedly engaged in firearms training. And sources tell ABC News the decision was made to conduct raids after there was a reference to Pumpkin Day, which authorities feared meant Halloween. Those sources telling ABC News 2 suspects have been arrested, with 3 more being questioned, ranging in age from 16 to 20.
Thank goodness no one was hurt there. Pierre Thomas joins us now. Pierre, is it safe for kids in that area to head out tonight for trick-or-treating?
Stephanie, although no charges were officially announced today, sources tell us they believe this was a potentially serious plot. But the FBI says the threat has been neutralized. So, Stephanie, it appears that it's okay for kids in those communities to trick-or-treat.
Okay, that is certainly good to hear. Pierre, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Deadly storms and record rain slamming the Northeast over the last 24 hours have killed at least 3 people, including a man who drowned when his basement apartment flooded in New York. This Halloween night, there are wind advisories from Philadelphia to New York to Boston. WABC's Lee Goldberg joins us with the forecast for tonight and for this weekend. Lee?
Stephanie, whipping winds in the wake of yesterday's storm that brought the intense flooding to parts of the Northeast, and it's kind of a 1-2 punch. Underneath that storm, as it departs into Canada, some gusts that are going up to 40, even 50 miles an hour. We have wind alerts across the Northeast and into parts of New England, upstate New York as well, where some of the strongest winds tonight could still go over 40, even approach 50 miles an hour. It's still gusty into the early morning hours on Saturday, and the rest of the day is kind of breezy during the day. So that storm is what is steering Melissa past Newfoundland overnight, but behind it, there's actually some snow showers, parts of northern New England and into the Adirondacks as well, and that'll go into the day on Sunday and into Sunday night. For trick-or-treating, most of the country's dry. Again, you have the rain and snow showers in the Northeast interior. It's cooler than normal in the Southeast. Few showers upper Midwest and in the Pacific Northwest. Otherwise, seasonable temperatures and dry in the middle of the country and mild in the Southwest. That's your forecast. Stephanie?
All right, Lee, thank you. 24 hours after former Prince Andrew was stripped of his titles, I spoke with the family of Andrew's accuser, Virginia Giuffre. The family is demanding more action be taken, calling on King Charles to pressure the U.S. government to release the Epstein files. ABC's Aaron Katursky has the latest.
Tonight, 24 hours after King Charles stripped his brother Andrew of all his royal titles, the family of Andrew's accuser, Virginia Giuffre, is pushing for more.
He needs to be fully investigated and brought to some sort of account. We need the king. We really do. We need him to put pressure on our own government here in the United States to release the Epstein files.
For years, Giuffre claimed Jeffrey Epstein trafficked her for sex with Andrew when she was a teenager.
He knows exactly what he's done.
Andrew has long denied it, but Giuffre's family says the king's historic decision is vindication.
It was joy, but it was, sorrow, because she should be here in this victory, in this moment. It was everything that she was fighting for.
Andrew will soon have to move from his 30-bedroom mansion to Sandringham, the king's private estate north of London. Ex-wife Sarah Ferguson will no longer live with him. But even with his exile, the crown may not be able to escape the taint of Andrew's association with Epstein.
If more information does come out about Andrew's links with Epstein that is damaging, that's still going to reflect just as badly on the royal family, despite the fact that he no longer has titles.
Stephanie, it's unclear if President Trump can be pressured into doing anything or whether King Charles would even want to get involved in a matter of domestic American politics. But there is a new Democratic Congresswoman from Arizona who's waiting to be sworn in. She would be the final signature needed to force a vote on the release of those records. House Speaker Mike Johnson is holding up swearing her in, though, blaming the government shutdown. Steph?
Aaron Katursky reporting for us tonight. Thank you, Aaron. Next tonight, it's a nightmare scenario involving a possibly malfunctioning seatbelt and a 205-foot tall roller coaster. Our Morgan Norwood has this story.
Tonight, terrifying moments playing out close to 205 feet in the air after riders say a child's seatbelt became unlatched on the Mamba roller coaster in Kansas City, Missouri, captured in this photo.
The first drop halfway through the hill, I'm sorry, this is really emotional because this little girl, the scream that she screamed, I've never heard anything like that before in my entire life.
Cassie and Chris Evans say they were riding the Mamba at the Worlds of Fun theme park earlier this month when they heard the young girl's screams.
And then she said, my seatbelt came off. There was this big of a gap between her
and the lap bar.
The Mamba, the park's tallest roller coaster, reaching speeds of 75 miles per hour. The two quickly clutching both the girl and her friend until the end of the 3-minute ride. Afterward, reporting the incident to a ride attendant. Tonight, a representative for Six Flags, the parent company of Worlds of Fun theme park, telling ABC News the park was closed briefly on Thursday while officials inspected the ride. Six Flags says 18 seatbelts were replaced out of an abundance of caution. According to the Missouri Department of Public Safety, more than 20 lap belts were not functioning properly when inspected that morning.
And Stephanie, the theme park also says the safety of its guests and team members is a top priority. They add that ride underwent a comprehensive safety review before reopening to its guests last night. Steph?
Absolutely frightening. Morgan, thank you. Turning back to our lead story. Tomorrow, more than 40 million Americans who rely on federal food assistance will not get the payments they rely on. For more on how that's affecting the families who receive these benefits and the potential wider economic impact, we're joined by Georgetown University economist Diane Schanzenbach. She is an expert on the impact of income support programs on low-income populations. Diane, thank you so much for joining us tonight. This is such an important conversation. I can only imagine the stress that so many families are dealing with right now, these families that rely on these benefits. How is this uncertainty over the future of food benefits affecting those who rely on it?
Oh, yeah, it's very stressful. So many of these families live really just hand to mouth, and any delays, anything like a delay in terms of SNAP payments will really cause hunger. And I know that the charitable food sector is stepping up as quickly as they can, but SNAP is so much larger than what we can make up for in the charitable food sector. This is a very stressful time for lots of families.
And many people will be surprised at the number of families that rely on these benefits. Not everybody's just talking about this. And 1 in 8 Americans receive SNAP benefits. When you pull back support to that many people, is there a potential ripple effect in terms of the wider economy?
Yeah, fully 9% of all grocery sales in the United States come from SNAP. Now, I will point out that not every dime of that SNAP money comes out on the first of the month. It's really spread across the month. Different families get it at different times. So what we'll see is a slow ripple effect as more and more families don't get their benefits on time this month. Hopefully, they'll pay out these as the court has ordered, but we are expecting some delays, and we'll just see hardship and hunger follow with any delays that occur.
Yeah, and as you know, that judge ordered the administration to use emergency funds to continue SNAP payments. The White House, though, says they plan to appeal, claiming they don't have the authority to release the funds. What's your understanding of the law here? Can they do that?
I'm not a lawyer, but I've been listening to lawyers talk about this. No, there is a contingency fund. The contingency fund is set up for situations like this. And just like the administration found other ways to pay the military, there are other sources of money that they can tap into at USDA and can fully fund this. At least that's our understanding. It'll come out with a delay, but any delay, any sort of cancellation of these will cause a lot of hardship to a lot of families.
Yeah, absolutely. And more broadly, a lot of people are bringing up the point that the federal government is still collecting taxes through the shutdown and asking, why can't the government pay its employees and fund services? How would you explain that situation?
So again, I think we'll need a lawyer to really get into the nitty-gritty. But my understanding is, you have to have an authorization from Congress to make some of these payments, and some things Congress has authorized, like the contingency fund for SNAP, and some things they haven't yet authorized.
All right. Well, we will see what happens in the next couple of hours. Thank you so much for your time, Georgetown University economist Diane Schanzenbach. Thank you.
Thank you.
A class action lawsuit is accusing the U.S. Department of Homeland Security of abusive and cruel conditions at an ICE detention facility in Chicago. The ACLU filed the suit alleging federal agents are detaining people in overcrowded, unsanitary cells, denying food and medical care, and blocking access for attorneys journalists, and lawmakers. The lawsuit also claims detainees are being coerced into signing documents they don't understand, possibly waiving their legal rights and facing deportation. Homeland Security Department Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin has denied those allegations. And it is that time of year again. Set your reminder. Set your clocks back as daylight savings hits this weekend. You don't want to miss that, especially if you've got plans on Sunday. In most of the country, clocks will fall back by 1 hour Sunday morning, returning to standard time and giving us an extra hour of sleep this weekend. Daylight saving time will return March 8th of 2026. Coming up here on Prime, vaccine rates are dropping in the heart of flu season. What's behind the plunge? Plus, he's in the running of one of the most watched races in the country. Tonight, our Linsey Davis sits down with Republican candidate Curtis Sliwa to talk about his plans for New York City.
Was it ever tempting, ever a shot that you said, maybe I should drop out?
And the dramatic moments, firefighters save a pair of cats from a burning apartment. New York City's mayoral race is now in the home stretch. On Tuesday, voters here will learn who will be their next mayor. It's a race that's attracted the attention of the President of the United States. He's urging the Republican, Curtis Sliwa, to drop out. Linsey Davis rode the subway with him to talk about how he would change the city and then came back to ABC to do an interview about his campaign and whether he's feeling the heat to drop out.
You ran 4 years ago. At that time, Donald Trump, who was running for president, got 500,000 more votes for you in New York City. How do you think you're going to win? What will be the strategy? How will it have a different outcome?
Well, remember, there's always greater turnout in presidential elections. That's been the history, unfortunately, throughout the country. This time, though, I saw what Donald Trump was able to acquire. I saw what Lee Zeldin was able to acquire in the gubernatorial race the year before. So we micro-targeted those voters. You have to do that in advance. That should get out the vote months and months in advance. So it's not about advertising on TV because most of the people see the advertisements are in the suburbs. Hey, great ad, but they can't vote. You have to go door to door. You have to send your texts, your emails, your snail mail. You got to follow up with the phone calls. And then you got to get those people to vote. Luckily, we have early voting, 10 days. There's been a tremendous rush of voters. I'm happy to see this, even if they're not voting for me, because this is democracy in action. One person, one vote. The billionaires, the influencers, and the insiders are not going to pick the next mayor. That's obvious. It's going to be the people, and I trust the people. I don't trust the billionaires.
Some members of your own party have said they're not going to vote for you. They've urged you to get out of the race. You've said that there have been people who've offered you as much as $10 million to drop out. What's kept you in it?
Well, I got to tell you, I told everybody who offered me money, this is like unethical. It's bribery. It could be criminal. And if you continue to try to bribe me, I'll be wired up like a Christmas tree and you'll be talking to investigators of a prosecutor's office. Boy, that stopped that. But because they stirred up people's passions, you had men and women out there threatening me and my wife, Nancy. Now, I've been threatened before. I've been shot by the Gottis and Gambinos. Luckily, I'm alive. But I had to go out and get, for the first time in my life, private security, retired NYPD armed officers to protect my wife, Nancy, who protects the animals, and to protect myself so that we could actually let the people make the determination of who the next mayor should be. Look, there have been threats on Zoran Mandami, serious threats on me. The rhetoric is too high, and we just got to lower it. Let the people debate the merits of all the candidates. They'll make their decision. I'll live with it. But I tell you this, if Zoran should win, I'm not fleeing like Andrew Cuomo said to his billionaire friends in the Hamptons. I'll join you in Florida. I stay. I fight for what I know is right. I improve. I don't move. I will be the loyal opposition here. And every time that a Zoran Mandami or supporter steps out of line, I'll be there to counter-check them by organizing in the community.
Was it ever tempting, ever a shot that you said, maybe I should drop out?
No, because whenever that pressure would rise up to the points where they're threatening my wife, I'd look to my wife. I'd say, can you deal with this? Because I've dealt with it my whole life. She said, no, we're in it together. I have nobody in the world better to thank for that than my wife, Nancy, who's never been through this before. And she didn't grow up the way I did. And she said, no, we got to save the city. We got to save the people. We got to save the animals. And I have everything in the world to thank her for that, for being in solidarity with me every step of the way. Someone else might have decided it was too risky, too much pressure, but she stood resolute with me.
As you know, President Trump really tried to clear the way for Andrew Cuomo. He urged Eric Adams to drop out. He did. He urged you to drop out. You've stayed. So how do you respond to those who may say, if Mamdani wins, hey, it's because Curtis Sliwa didn't drop out, he split the vote?
How ridiculous. I'm the major party candidate. If you didn't want me as the Republican, you could have primaried me. And they were flirting with that idea of having Eric Adams primary. They did an initial poll. They said, oh, he'll get crushed by Curtis. Because I'm the people's mayor. I'm there for the people, even when I'm not running for office. So a major party candidate never drops out. When in the history of electoral politics does the major party candidate, the only Republican, the law and order candidate, drop out for somebody who got clobbered in the Democratic primary? He couldn't even win his own primary, Andrew Cuomo. And now, if you try to find him on an independent line, good luck. You got to get through a maze. That ain't happening. We're just a few days away. I trust people. I don't trust party leaders. I don't trust billionaires, influencers, insiders. They are not going to pick the mayor. The people. Isn't this a novel idea? One person, one vote. Wow. And yet all these people want to basically interfere with this election cycle instead of letting the people determine who the next mayor is.
President Trump has said that you're not ready for prime time. You're not a viable candidate. So if you do win, how would you work together?
Oh, the one thing I said in both debates is I'm not foolish enough to bump chess with the most powerful guy in the world, Donald Trump. He holds all the cards. But if you notice, Zoran and Andrew Cuomo, they're fighting each other. I'm tougher than you. I'll take on Trump. First off, you can see how Trump operates. You have to show him respect. It's the art of the deal. You have to say, Donald, I realize that the federal government is withholding money, Medicaid, SNAP card, food stamps. They want to cut back on public housing. What can we do? How can I lessen the pain for the poor and the indigent that I'm responsible for? See, because the fallback position that Zoran Mamdani would have as mayor and Andrew Cuomo is, I fought against Trump. He won. He's the reason that our city is dissolving. Well, when people lose their apartments in public housing and they don't have their food stamps and they can't get Medicaid, you're going to blame Trump? How about the fact that maybe you didn't sit down and try to negotiate with him and understand if you pay respect, you'll get respect. Look, I've had a love-hate relationship with Donald Trump that goes back 40 years. And by the way, his vice president, J.D. Vance, in 2016 called him Hitler. He's now vice president. Need I say more?
Our thanks to Linsey Davis, and you can catch much more of Linsey's interview with Curtis Sliwa, including her subway ride with him, on All Access with Linsey Davis right here on ABC News Live and streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu. Coming up, he is the brain behind one of the most visited websites in the world, a free information hub known as Wikipedia. Tonight, the man who helped create the site talks about how he proved the naysayers wrong. Plus, the foul flower that's rare bloom happened just in time for Halloween. It wasn't that long ago when people considered Wikipedia a joke. After all, how can you trust an open source, right? Online encyclopedia that can be edited by anyone. Yet the site's founder, Jimmy Wales, he had faith that the site, once only available in English, could become a trusted global resource. It took some years, but Wales' hunch proved correct.
The potential is still pretty close to limitless.
Wikipedia says it has more than 240,000 contributing volunteers across the globe, and Stephen Pruitt is the most prolific of them all.
I have my own idiosyncratic way of finding stuff.
As the site itself states, he has made over 6 million edits and written more than 34,000 original entries. His inspiration? His parents, both former educators.
I've been surrounded by knowledge, by intellect, by the understanding that knowledge is freedom.
Launched in 2001 by founder Jimmy Wales. Credibility and trust issues have dogged the website over the years, but Pruitt says there are mechanisms in place to correct erroneous entries.
People look at it from the question of anything can be added in. Yes, but it can just as easily be taken out when it needs to be taken out. As long as the community is there and it has eyes on things, which it does.
There is an extraordinary amount of trust that is placed into the idea of Wikipedia.
Professor Stephen Jeffrey of Northeastern University and senior researcher at Project Information Literacy.
Some people do go to Wikipedia treating it as the ultimate source on all knowledge, but in a lot of other cases, we find that people are using Wikipedia as a place to get a general understanding of a topic and look at the primary sources that are cited in those Wikipedia articles.
Professor Jeffrey says he sees Wikipedia's greatest value to students is helping them get started.
Wikipedia can be extremely useful in giving them some guardrails and sort of giving them some keywords or phrases or subtopics to explore, which then they can explore using, the more verifiable resources that we care about in higher education.
No matter the reason for clicking on the site, Wikipedia has consistently been one of the top 10 most visited websites on the internet, thanks in part to internet warriors like Stephen Pruitt.
I'm the ultimate nerd. I'm not the only one. And the next 25 years, I think, are going to be fascinating to see how much further our reach becomes.
We spoke with Jimmy Wales, the creator of Wikipedia, earlier this week, and he has a new book out. It's called The 7 Rules of Trust, a blueprint for building things that last. Things just like Wikipedia. Take a look. Jimmy Wales, thank you so much for being here, founder of Wikipedia. It's so great to meet you.
Well, thank you. It's good to be here.
Yes. Okay, so got your book right here, The 7 Rules of Trust, a blueprint for building things that last. For years, there were so many people that said Wikipedia is not going to last. It's open for anyone to edit, hence manipulate. What did those naysayers get wrong?
Well, we had to really build a really strong community of people who are very passionately dedicated to the idea of a free encyclopedia. I mean, one of the rules of trust is purpose. Having a clear and easy to understand purpose means it made decision making a lot easier along the way because we knew where we want to go, which is this encyclopedia.
And it's been 24 years of Wikipedia.
Almost 25. Right? It's exciting.
Almost 25 years. And it's incredible because even now you go on Google, you search up anyone, anything, and the second link, third link is usually Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Is that just the Google algorithm?
Yeah, it's just the algorithm. We don't have any kind of a deal with Google. But I think it's, if you type in someone's name or you just type in a historical event or something, they know what you're looking for, which is a clear explanation of who this is or what it's all about. So Wikipedia has always gotten a lot of traffic from the search engines.
Okay. What would you say to business leaders who might disagree with you and say trust is important, but if you want to build something that lasts and build something that people want, what would you say to them?
Well, I mean, I think both are actually valid. Of course, you have to, build something that people want, but a lot of people start trying that, but if they've not really thought through the concept of trust, then they may build something that's quite fragile. I mean, we tell the story in the book of Airbnb, who had a real big trust crisis very early on because they hadn't really thought about, that they needed to be trusted. And they really had a great moment where they realized actually they had to put trust at the center of the business because, someone's going to come and stay in your house. Are they going to trash the place? Is it going to be taken care of? So they implemented all their features and all the things that they needed to do so that people would trust them. So even though the idea of the service, it sounded like something people would want, they had to make it trustworthy.
And you argue in the book that people really do want to trust others and information that they are consuming. But of course, there is disinformation out there. And Wikipedia came about before social media. So being that it's been out there for so long, are you ever concerned that it'll be swallowed up by social media?
Not really. I mean, we live in our own little Wikipedia bubble, and we're not trying to be social media. We don't implement features where people get famous in the community or you get more followers because you're have high engagement because you're making people annoyed and things like that. In fact, the Wikipedia community is largely behind the scenes. They're very quiet. They know each other, and they do care what each other think, but it's about mutual respect. It's about being thoughtful, about doing good quality work. And I think those are the rewards that motivate Wikipedians, as opposed to, getting millions of followers, which, isn't always about the truth. It's sometimes just about being outrageous.
Yeah. And let's talk about AI a bit. I'm sure that's been a talking point within your team and your group as it becomes more and more the thing in today's society. Some believe artificial intelligence will kill the internet. Why go through the trouble of hunting down a trusted source when AI will hand feed you information at the top of your browser? Is AI kind of also a threat to Wikipedia at this point?
No, we don't think so. And we haven't seen any real material impact on traffic and things like that. But also, we know I use AI all the time. I am fascinated by this advance in technology. But the one thing that you find out pretty quickly is it hallucinates, it makes things up. It will tell you something because it thinks that's what you want to hear, or because it seems plausible. And
which can sometimes be a little creepy.
Sometimes can be a little creepy.
It's like, wait, you're not being honest here.
Yeah. No, and it's also a little bit dangerous because it usually doesn't tell you something completely crazy. It's plausible but wrong, which makes it easier that you might get it wrong. So, we think actually human in the loop, people reviewing things. And for us, like a big part of our passion as a community is really all about reliable sources, about really making sure that we're trying to get information from real places. And this is something that social media doesn't do so well because people see a viral headline and they retweet it or they do whatever, and they haven't stopped to go, hold on a minute, maybe this is misinformation or disinformation. That's all the Wikipedians do all day, every day, is obsess over whether or not the source is good.
Well, Jimmy, thank you so much for stopping by. What a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
Jimmy Wales, founder of Wikipedia, right here on Prime. Thank you.
Right. Lovely.
And you can get Jimmy Wales' book, The 7 Rules of Trust, a blueprint for building things that last. You can get that book today wherever you get your books. And coming up here on ABC News Live Prime, it is the season to believe there's a little magic among us. And tonight, we're meeting the Clairvoyants, a couple whose mind-bending tricks might just make a believer out of you. Plus, what's your favorite scary movie? We're taking a look at a newly released list of the most terrifying movies of all time. But do the films that took the top spots really deliver those thrills? That's coming up. Flu vaccination rates plummet. A mainstay MTV show is ending after 46 seasons. And did your favorite horror flick make the list of scariest movies of all time? These stories and more in tonight's rundown. Flu vaccination rates are expected to fall 12% this season, according to insurance claims data analyzed by CSL Limited, a maker of one of the flu shots available in the U.S. market. CSL says that the vaccination rate for those over 65 is expected to drop by 14%. Flu vaccination rates have been declining among children over the past few years. An estimated 49% of kids got their shot this past season, nearly 5 points lower than the prior season. Last flu season was one of the most intense in recent memory. A record-breaking 281 children died from the virus last season, the highest level since the 2009 H1N1 pandemic. The CDC recommends that everyone over the age of 6 months get vaccinated against influenza before the end of October. Ridiculousness, one of the longest-running programs in MTV's history, has been canceled. With more than 1,700 episodes and long dominating the MTV airwaves, the show will play out its remaining season with no new episodes being produced. Dramatic video shows the moment these firefighters saved 2 cats from an apartment fire in Santa Ana, California. The Orange County Fire Authority says the firefighters quickly deployed hose lines after arriving to the scene. After controlling the fire well enough for their search to continue, they searched for people first, then pets. Officials say they were able to stop the fire from spreading and damaging additional units. The rare corpse flower has opened at the New York Botanical Garden just in time for Halloween. Crowds gathered for a sniff of its infamous rotting meat stench and for photos too.
It takes a young corpse flower about 7 to 10 years to begin its first bloom cycle. After that, it can bloom once every 3 to 5 years, only lasting a few days each time. This year's Halloween candy prices are getting roughly 10% spookier, according to a new study from the Groundwork Collaborative and the Century Foundation. President Trump's tariffs aren't just impacting the prices of candy, but also seasonal decorations and costumes, 85% of which are made in China. Tootsie Roll lollipops are up 33%, while Hershey variety packs, which are full of fun-sized candies like Kit Kats and Reese's, are up 22%. Have some fear? Halloween is here. Need a scream? Load these movies on your nearest screen. A new list by the Money Supermarket ranks the scariest movies by how high your heart rate gets during the film. The 2012 supernatural horror movie Sinister takes the top spot with an average heart rate response of 86 beats per minute. 34% higher than the average resting rate. The scariest part of the movie, however, garnered a 131 beats per minute response. On Halloween, we suspend our disbelief, choosing to see the magic all around us. The incredible mind-melding duo, the Clairvoyants, helped our Linsey Davis do just that. Take a look.
Some call it magic, but the Clairvoyants have always been a bit more than that. They have amazed audiences worldwide with their signature style of mind reading and countless illusions that have rewritten the standard of their industry. But now, after touring the world and having a baby, the dynamic duo is back. Tommy Ten and Amelie Van Toss are in the U.S. with their holiday spectacular tour and a brand new interactive dining experience, inviting fans to not just watch, but become part of the story themselves. And joining us now, Tommy and Amelie, the Clairvoyants, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much.
A lot of people may remember you from America's Got Talent or from your stints in Vegas, but now you all have a new holiday experience. Tell us what's in store.
Yes,
exactly.
Our newest show, basically, over the last years, we got so inspired from Las Vegas. So we put a brand new show together, and now it's on the road. We're doing mind reading, we're doing magic and illusions. And even if you believe it or not, our little dog, Mr. Coney Hundini, is on stage. And Amelie, I think
he's stealing the show.
Yeah, he's stealing the show right now.
Of course, you guys have already been parents to your canine sidekick, but now you have a little baby, almost one. How has that changed life as Clairvoyants?
Nothing changed at all.
No? You're getting sleep, everybody's rested.
Yeah, no. In our dreams. No, it's been wonderful. He's an amazing baby. He travels with us and he enjoys life to the fullest, and it's a miracle.
Well, congratulations
Thank you so
on
much.
the latest edition. And you all also have debuted a new dine-in show, right? And it's called The Magic Table, where people can actually get a sense of a new form of magic through their dishes. How so?
Exactly.
We always wanted to create a show where you sit on a table, where you have a nice 5-course meal, and the magic is happening right in front of you. And that's exactly what we do with the Magic Table. You enjoy your evening, you enjoy your meal. We'll show you some magic, or the table is showing you some magic. There will be some magic happening in your hands. And we also teach some about the history of magic. And at the very end, that's the coolest part, we'll teach you some magic, so you can go home and basically show some magic to your family and friends. And we are so super excited because we're bringing this to San Francisco and to New York, opening this December, and we're just super hyped to show it and to share it with all the people out there.
How does the intimacy of this experience really change the kind of magic?
Everybody is kind of the main character in this whole thing. So you experience the magic right in front of you. So you, as a passenger, you are on stage the entire time, basically, because you experience it very, very close up.
Because, when we are on tour, a lot of people, they would love to come on stage, but some they are a little afraid. And that's the cool thing with the Magic Table, because everybody sitting there on the table is the magician by themselves. They can experience the tricks, the mind reading in their arms and in their hands and in their minds.
You can never make a believer out of everybody, but what do you hope people leave believing?
I think it is just a very magical experience where people can lean back, forget about their everyday worries, and be like, yes, I was always a skeptic, but this worked on me. I was not in on that trick, because a lot of people think that we work with stooges and people are in on the tricks, but they are not. And that's when they experience it like, yes, I was not in on it and still it worked.
All right, well, I am not in on this. So for the skeptics at home, you have something prepared for them.
Yes, let's do something, because mind reading, it's about the mind. So a little experiment. I have a cup here and a dice or die. We'll put it inside. Do me a favor, hold this with one hand, put the other hand on top.
Okay.
Just give it a little shake.
Okay.
Have a look, what number is on top?
1.
1, okay, shake it one more time. Have a look, is it a different number?
4.
4, perfect. We'll do it one more time, a little bit different. Hand on top, shake it. Linsey, as long as you like.
She's going for it.
Leave the hand on top.
Okay.
Amelie and I will look away. As soon as we're looking away, you will have a peek what number's on top.
Okay.
Don't show it to anyone. Don't say it to anyone. Don't change it.
Okay.
Now we'll look away.
Okay.
You know the number.
Yeah,
hand is on top. We cannot
hand
look
is on
inside.
top. You guys cannot see.
Now look into Amelie's eyes and count loud from 1 to 6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Linsey, of course, you're doing a very good job. I couldn't really tell anything from your gesture because, yeah, you're professional. But I do think at some point your voice was a little lower because you wanted to get over it. You wanted to get over the 5. You wrote the 5.
Is that correct?
It was 5.
Can I have a look?
It was
Here,
5.
It is number 5 on top.
Oh, I am not a part of that. That is very impressive, guys.
You know,
that
and
is very impressive.
That's about the mind. That's what Amelie is doing. I'm more, known for magic, and I will do some magic with you, okay?
Okay.
Therefore, I have this thing here. Everybody knows it, a Rubik's Cube. Do me a favor and solve it.
I've never been able to solve this.
Okay, then mix it up even more. I'm okay with that.
All right, you got it.
Just
mix
left,
it
right,
all
up, whatever you. Perfect.
All right, okay.
Excellent. I love this,
I got 3
Linsey.
in a row. Okay.
Oh, 3 in a row. Not too bad. Not too bad. Okay. I'm trying to solve this within 5 seconds without looking. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sold.
Wait, can I check something?
Oh, inside the back?
Yeah.
Okay, I can check it for you. Nothing in there.
Okay.
Here, I can even turn it around. There's nothing in there.
Oh.
But for the skeptics, there's of course nothing in there. Here, souvenir, Linsey.
Very impressive. This is the real deal, guys. The Clairvoyants, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
You can catch Tommy and Amelie this winter on their holiday spectacular tour in select cities across the country.
That was fun. I was on the edge of my seat there. Great job, Linsey. That is our show for this hour. I'm Stephanie Ramos. Stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thank you for streaming with us.